Jake made the absurd decision to start the recording and then instantly walked away.
Yeah, so this is going to be episode 88 of the Tough Cut podcast. Hello and welcome back. I'm Matthew.
I'm Alex.
Oh, shit, I'm Jakers. Well, fuck, I forgot that. I'm Jakers. I'm here. I'm Jakers.
It may sound like Jake is standing 4 feet from his microphone, and that's because he is.
He is, yeah. So, this is the Family Bracket, episode 3, our semifinals. We've got some great movies to talk about today. Jake, do you want to do your job?
No, my shit. Spoiler warning. We're going to be spoiling these movies. All the movies. Why are you doing this to me? Why I gave you guys one thing. I said, okay, I'm going to go get a little snacky. And then I keep running down. I want to get my snacky. I haven't eaten.
Go get your snack. Go, run.
Okay. Jake, go get your snacky.
Spoiler warning. We're going to be spoiling these movies. I'm Jakers.
Jake, you forgot to do the content warning.
Oh, we got this. Coming at you in today's episode, we've got Furious 7 versus Hereditary and Parasite versus Little Miss Sunshine. A quick content warning up top. Hereditary involves it's a horror movie, general intense circumstances, but then also intense child harm. And Little Miss Sunshine has depictions and discussions of suicide. So be aware what you're getting yourself into with those movies.
Yeah.
So as far as the plan today, it's waiting for Jake to get back with his snack.
No, I feel like we could jump into the matchup and you could introduce...
Oh, that's true. We can do the introductions. Alex, you want to go ahead and reintroduce Furious 7?
Yeah. The gang pulled off one last job working with Hobbs, and now things are better, except they're not, because... the guy who they knocked out, his brother, Deckard Shaw, played by Jason Statham, is coming after him. There's nowhere they can hide. This movie is so interesting because it finally ties together the events of Tokyo Drift, where Han blows up and dies at the end. We finally have context for that, which I think is so interesting and cool. This movie's great. It is so about family, truly intrinsic in everything that it is. It's very, very core, is about family and how they feel about cool cars.
Yeah. And if there's nothing you can say about family, it's that families love cool cars.
Family love cool car.
Think about, like a Honda Odyssey. Yeah, you can fit a lot of people in a Honda Odyssey.
Yeah.
The fuck are y'all talking about?
On the other side of the bracket, we've got Hereditary, released in 2018, directed by Ari Aster. The film is set to the backdrop of the family matriarch Ellen Graham's death, at which point we begin to explore the web of relationships of the remaining and sometimes very strange Graham family. It's all thrown to a head when the family's daughter Charlie is, spoilers, killed in what appears to be an accident. At this point, Annie, played by Toni Collette, begins to unravel the cryptic and increasingly terrifying secrets of their family ancestry, and her son, Peter, played by Alex Wolff, tries to escape the sinister fate he has inherited upon his sister's death. Not very many cool cars in Hereditary. Really, in fact, only a child-killing car.
Yeah, child-killing car, which is not cool. I'll say it. I'll go out on a limb. Killing children, not a cool thing for a car to do.
No. You see those Tesla autopilot tests where they were running over the child-sized dummies? Yeah, that is just on the mountain of things that was uncool for Elon Musk and his associates to do.
Yeah, very
not
uncool
a gamer
dude.
Moment.
What?
Not a gamer moment.
Big time gamer Elon Musk. Not a gamer.
Jake is he roasting a fucking turkey? Like, he's been gone for 5 minutes. Like, Jesus Christ. So
we did delay him quite a bit, making him come back and forth, and he hadn't started. Like,
That's true. Well, he'll seamlessly transition right back in. The audience won't even know how long he's been gone. Hopping into the conversation here, sort of with Hereditary.
I can't leave you guys.
Jake, what's in the bowl? What did you have to make in a bowl?
Oh, I roasted a turkey.
Oh.
Yeah, that's a little bit of turkey, mashed potatoes, and gravy.
Yeah, I had to base it, That's what took most of the time. I was basing it.
Anyway. Do you have a baster, or were you using something else?
Hey, I got the base that God gave me. All right.
It can slurp and it can spit. Or sorry, it can slurp and it can spew.
There we go. I feel like I stayed a little bit further behind because when you guys are when I'm not there, I love hearing what you guys talk about when I'm not there. It was good.
And audience members rarely have to listen to an episode without me there. Because
honestly,
my attendance record is stellar.
Was this just were you just trying to flex on us? What was that about?
I care a lot about this little show.
I also care a lot about it.
Honestly, guys, the bit of us rushing through the intro as fast as possible to make Jake be late because of his snack made it so that way we can start talking about these movies faster than we have in the last 5 episodes.
Yeah, we have so much time. We've got 25 minutes to chat about these films.
Yeah, should we talk about vending
and
machines
I'm Jakers.
So Furious 7 versus Hereditary.
So, okay, I want to continue a conversation that I started at the end of last episode, and it's a little bit of continuation of the first time we talked about Furious 7, because I think it's a more interesting conversation now with these two movies. Sure. Jake, in Furious 7, you talked about how you didn't want to be a part of this cool family with cars because you'd go to jail. Would you rather be a part of the Hereditary family? Which of these families would you rather be a part of?
So here's the thing. I was admittedly harsh on Furious 7 a little bit in the first episode. But now I have no head in this race, much like...
Your turkey baster?
Yeah.
His turkey baster doesn't have a head? My God.
Yeah, man. It's
Jake,
and that's why it took so long.
You're like Margot from the Royal Tenenbaums, but it was a much more serious accident.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not saying that I'd rather be in the Hereditary family, but kind of. Just because there's two main reasons. One, be cool to serve a deity.
My man, just join us in Christ.
Yeah.
My brother in Christ.
My man. My dude, just join us in Christ. You sound like a hip, camp counselor.
A youth pastor.
No.
Yeah, a youth pastor.
Yeah.
And the second reason is mommy's in Hereditary.
Oh my God, this bit is following me an entire week later. Because now I can't even say what my answer was going to be. Otherwise, you're going to be like, oh, fucking idiot guy. God damn it. God damn it. What, you've been sitting on that one for a week? You guys texting about it like we're going to get Matthew really good with the mommy bit again? This is what we've been waiting a week to produce? God damn it.
I actually didn't get something to eat. I was texting Alex on the side. It's like,
how can we bring up mommy? Oh.
He queued me up perfectly talking about Hereditary. It was great.
God damn it. Yeah, but I would be part of the Hereditary family.
No questions asked.
When Charlie dies, there's an open spot in mommy's heart.
Jesus.
Now he's doubling down. He had a week to think about being embarrassed, and now
maybe we should cut that one out.
No, Matt, I'm back to editing on this one, and I don't think that will be cut out.
Oh,
amazing.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'd serve Paimon.
Yeah, Paimon sounds pretty chill.
Yeah, if Annie hadn't been such a buzzkill and prevented Queen Lee from getting her little tendrils on Peter
Alex
when he was
Wolff
a kid.
Of all people.
Yeah, then Paimon would have had his preferred male form from the get-go, and they would have been even wealthier than they were. They've got a big house.
They got a big house. But get to hang out with a bunch of naked people. That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that.
To be fair, they technically do that in Fast and Furious. It's just mostly naked people. And they're all women.
That's, okay. All right. Something to break down
about
there.
The billionaire party and
party, the drag race at the beginning. They do that Fast and Furious staple.
Mm-hmm. All I'm gonna
remember when Gal Gadot was in the Fast and Furious movies in Fast 5?
Is she again? Was she only in that one?
No, she was in Fast 6, and I think she dies.
Oh, that's unfortunate for her character.
What character? She got nothing to do in Fast 5.
All I know is her character, I think, was also Israeli, just like her.
Yeah. Her character was presumably killed in the 2013 Fast.
Presumably, God, you're gonna.
Yeah,
bring
I mean,
her
she
back.
could come back.
She's gonna have her own
no.
spin-off.
Yep. Wonder Woman, Tokyo Drift. It's gonna be great.
And
Anyway, it's gonna be.
Some
there's a lot of directions we could go there.
Yeah. So getting into the actual depictions of family here, obviously we've talked a little bit about Hereditary being just like a full-on distortion of the safety and familiarity we find in family, and how family can kind of be this more insidious thing in your life. On the other side, Furious 7, family out the wazoo in basically every way you can conceive of family. Found family, genetic family, mostly those two.
But okay. To be fair, we got a lot of dynamics. We got brother sister. We got husband wife. We got
quite
brother
a few
brother.
husband wife.
Quite a few.
Why no husband? Why no wife?
Yeah.
Wife?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is there any openly gay characters at this point in the Fast and Furious franchise? Like straight up?
I don't know. Let's Google it.
It's gonna be Gal Gadot, and they killed her off. Watch.
The first Google result I got was a news article saying the Fast and Furious movies have always been gay.
Great.
Hobbs and Shaw is only the latest example of the
example.
series not so thinly veiled homoeroticism.
Well, it's that thing where it's like men want to be like really close and manly with each other, but they don't want to admit it's gay. They say shit like, "Oh, no homo," but I'm gonna cradle your balls.
Yeah. No, they representation. Not a lot of it.
Not in that way.
No,
they do have other representation.
Yeah, lots of familial representation.
It's just me being surprised that they're like literally this far into the series and having, like,
that's I
just like I would feel like if you're rolling a dice, it would eventually come
like
Snake Eyes.
They went to space before they put a gay character in there. Like that's kind of we should talk about that, right?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's a valid criticism.
Have they gone to space? I feel like this is something real. Jake's been saying.
I know it sounds like a shitpost, but like the latest one, they went to space in a car.
Yeah, don't they attach a car to a rocket or something?
Yep.
I
don't know how they're gonna one up it. I think they're gonna fucking alien.
I bet they're gonna do. I bet they're gonna do an Interstellar.
Whoa.
Anyway, so Family and Furious 7. I feel like this is something that we've said a bunch, but has not like been properly illustrated when it comes to Furious 7. Furious 7 is like a D&D campaign that I wrote, in the sense that every single character is somehow has a familial tie to somebody else relevant. Like even like like Hobbs, who we're seeing for like a couple minutes, his daughter's in the movie because like there's got to be a familial connection somewhere.
Yeah, he's got to have a story about family.
It is sort of absurd how literally every character, basically every like important named character, has some sort of familial connection, be it a found family connection or a biological connection to another, or a legal one in the sense of marriage, to another character in this movie. Like
ludicrous.
Yeah, he's in the movie too.
Yep.
It is ludicrous.
It's
yeah.
It's crazy.
Anger consumes me.
I can't tell. Like, obviously it's intentional, right? I can't tell if that's good or not. Like, if just overwhelming family makes it better. Like, I think it does. Like,
it certainly makes it funnier when you start to think about it.
Yeah.
And what I wish, like, obviously I know Paul Walker's death complicated the story they were trying to tell pretty significantly. I want to know what this film's story would have been had Paul Walker not passed away. Like, what did they go into this movie trying to sort of put together as the overarching plot, you know? Yeah. And I'm genuinely not sure.
I have an answer.
Okay, go for it.
They were gonna have it to where Paul Walker was gonna be driving his sister from a party, and she's gonna stick her head out the window. And fast cars, you gotta, and it's gonna be a warning about. And then Paul Walker retires from driving because he's like, I can't drive anymore.
And then Fast 7 was going to be about them fighting the witches and the cult of Paimon.
Yep.
Honestly, That would be a badass sequel.
Okay,
they went to space. Now they delve into like the occult,
the mystical. God, that'd be so cool. If Fast and Furious went magic on us.
Watching Dominic Toretto try and talk to a witch.
I love how you said the word trying. I love how you said the word trying.
You know it's true though.
I feel like Vin Diesel too is like a D&D nerd. Like, I could totally see them do like some fantasy spin. It's like they get sent to another dimension.
I officially really want that. I want them in their cars to be like teleported to a fantasy realm, and it's like the Dominic Toretto Dodge Charger takes on a dragon, and he like ramps off a badass rock and like knocks its head off and saves a princess.
You want them to go full Army of Darkness. You want you want them to go full Army of Darkness. That'd be great.
Army of Darkness fucking rocks, and by I don't know what is that mathematical law. Whatever.
Murphy's Law.
Nope, but it doesn't matter.
The Romeo Juliet clause.
Oh God, the
new Transformers movie trailer came out.
Yeah, I have complicated feelings about it.
Yeah.
now that we're like in the biz and Transformers is a running joke on our podcast, I think we have to have a complicated.
You know what?
We're gonna start a GoFundMe for all of us to get tickets. To fly to each other.
What? I thought you were
tickets to see the movie.
I'm like, we're starting a GoFundMe for like $40 so we can get tickets to go to the movie.
Unironically, it would be hilarious if we did.
Honestly, that'd be a pretty funny bit.
Techno Gorilla slaps. I'd kill for Techno Gorilla.
I have.
This is Flying Gorilla, here to tell you about Flying Gorilla.
My new app, Flying Gorilla.
Was that basically the plot of the new Transformers movie?
So, like, diving back into our two films of discussion here.
Right.
Man, I guess how cool was it when that car slides from one building to the other building? And
that was the trailer. That was the big trailer sting, right?
Yeah, probably.
That would make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. There are, again, like I said this before, there's so many dumb. This movie is dumb. Fury 7 is dumb, but it's a lot of fun.
It's enjoyable. Dumb. Yeah,
it's the Into Darkness situation. It's a dumb film, but man, is it fun to watch.
Yeah. I'll never like look at a Fast and Furious movie because they famously film a lot in Cleveland, which you should, whatever. But they famously film a lot in Cleveland, and
because it's like New York but cheap.
Yeah, they have tax incentives and all that, but they don't really warn like the city and the people around whenever they're doing stunts and stuff apparently. And so there's like this video of like someone just at work and they take a video outside of like a parking garage, like a bunch of cars like driving out of it and crashing down to the ground, and they're just like, holy fucking shit, what's happening? Like, what's going on? And I keep thinking of that every time like a Fast and Furious movie films, like some innocent person's like, what is going on? There's so many cars crashing all around me.
The same thing's actually true in Hereditary. They just had all those naked people show up at someone's house.
Yeah, that's not even the house they filmed in. That's just like, it looked cool. They're just like, just surround this guy.
It was before Toni Collette was attached, and they got her like authentic reaction.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. So that's one of the things that's so crazy about the Fast and Furious movies. They destroy so many cars.
Yeah.
Like, if those cars were families, you would have killed like 200 different families,
Hey, but that's a lot of families in that movie.
Imagine all those cars were Honda Odysseys packed full of a soccer mom and her 3 kids, That's like 1,000 people dead.
Yeah, they're basically like the Avengers of like, your property damage and like the shit. Like,
Jake, also, you just opened that drink so loudly directly into your microphone.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll do it again.
That moment when Hobbs pulls the minigun off the helicopter and shoots it, that was pretty sick.
That's kick ass. Like,
that's my favorite scene from Hereditary.
it's just got
Yeah, honestly, Hobbs with a minigun would have solved that problem real quick.
Okay, that's the
No,
equivalent
because
of Mark
then-
Wahlberg being like, I'll tell you what, if I were on those planes in 9/11, it would have been different.
we are what, 2 for 2 making 9/11 references in back-to-back episodes.
I'm sorry. I really need to stop.
I feel like we say 9/11 in almost every episode now.
Look, it's
I'm a
because so
villain.
many films are colored by the fact that they're post 9/11 movies. It like changed filmmaking in America.
It's true.
You can't
Wow.
deny that.
If Spider-Man
Academically.
gets on this bracket, we're gonna have to talk about 9/11. They edited out the Twin Towers. There's a whole scene where he swung around the Twin Towers, and then 9/11 just happened.
Lilo and Stitch was affected by it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How do you think their
There's that
parents died?
movie that Kermit. It's like the Muppet movie
Predicts, yeah.
where it's like if Kermit was never born,
And there's
then
no Twin Towers.
the Twin Towers is in that splash
Oh, it's
scene.
there. That's what it is.
It's there. So if Kermit was never born, 9/11 could have been avoided.
Wow.
Which we can't tackle that right now. Regardless, getting down to brass tacks, the actual families in these films. What are your highlights here? You know, like Alex in particular for Furious 7. Like,
It's the send off to Paul Walker. I think
That's
that is like I think there's a lot of like very clear and obvious family stuff in this movie, right? But I think the send off to Paul Walker is for sure the most true and meaningful and heartfelt. I'm not gonna lie, I was sitting on my couch on a Tuesday at like 9 a.m. weeping my eyes out. Like,
That's very cute.
thank you. The moment mirroring their like send off from the first movie, like it's been a long day without you, my friend. Like, super colors it by the year it came out, right? But also like, I don't know, it just feels like such an authentic goodbye that I think fit the movie very well. Yeah.
I think that's a fair point. And there's definitely truth to that. It is much as, we talked about this a little bit last week that, the Fast and Furious movies, they're huge budget, made to make money. Not all the family stuff is going to come across as genuine as it could, especially when like every character is somehow related to someone else sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I do think that the send off to Paul Walker comes from a very real place.
I mean, it had to. I mean, like
Of
they were kind of
course.
forced to do that. Like,
I guess it is worth applauding them that it managed to be tasteful because it's so
100%.
easily could have like tipped off the scale in the wrong way and just came across as like really gross.
Well, and I think
it's getting money. And
I
all
think
stuff.
as
it's hard. It's
like
hard thing.
as far as the like stuff in the Fast and Furious movies goes, like I think odds were it was gonna lean that way, right? Like it was gonna be real bad. And so it is almost miraculous that it's a good send off.
Yeah,
and I think that some of that definitely has to do with supposedly Paul Walker was just like a fantastic human being and a great person to work with. I think is the biggest piece where like I'm sure like everybody involved probably wanted to give the best send off that they could. Which is a very fair point. I definitely think it comes through in Furious 7 for what it's worth.
Yeah, it is tricky because that moment is very, very good. But like looking back at the other film, it's up against. There's just something really special still to me about what a movie like Hereditary brings to the table with family and talking about it, and reaching a bad conclusion. I think it's one of our only like. Well, we talked about it a little bit with Little Miss Sunshine, how it's like technically not a good ending for its characters, but like it still feels like a good ending for Hereditary. It doesn't feel like a good ending, I guess.
I guess there's technically family reconciliation.
There is, I mean,
in a very twisted way.
Very twisted and dark. But like, I don't know, something about me still likes that. And I'm trying to like grapple, like, what about this conclusion with family stuff and talking about, mental health, but also like, leaning into the horror genre of it. Like why do I like it so much? When talking about family, like I'm trying to crack my head a little bit.
Some of it is, I think there's a lot of like real truths kind of tucked away inside of its view of family. That piece on distortion, I think is huge, especially, just in general for a lot of people. But more than that, there's this weird piece to me where, like, despite the movie essentially having some negative conclusions as far as how like negative conclusions, especially for its characters, I don't know if it's necessarily drawing negative conclusions about family, which is a really tough idea to try and explain. But there's like some part of me that believes that, and I I
that's
don't
what I'm
know
trying
how to
to
put
get.
that
Like,
to
I
words.
I don't know how to put to words how I kind of feel like positive about family going forward after
as a
watching
result
Hereditary.
of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's super weird, and I agree with you. Basically.
Maybe it's just as simple as like, man, I'm really glad that's not my family.
I'm really glad.
Maybe that's it. Maybe. Really glad that's not me. Couldn't be me. Y'all be easy. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's like something to be said of like the impossible situation that they're in, and it's like I'm glad, like it makes you retrospective of your family of like, my family has had to deal with difficult things maybe, and like these are the things that we've dealt with and we got through them and we dealt with them better than this family did.
That bar is pretty low.
Yeah, if your entire family didn't die in whatever you were dealing with, then you beat out the Graham family. They had
not even die. Like one of your family members was actively killing other family members,
and one of your family members died and then was possessed by the spirit of a king of hell.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that one seems like the most obvious.
And
like,
also,
like we've all been there. Thanksgiving, am I right?
Yeah, aren't we all?
I mean, it's hard to admit, but you know who I am. Yeah.
Matt's done a lot of things for mommy.
No, don't do it. Don't bring it back to mommy thing. He's gonna
start yelling again.
On that mommy note, before Matt starts yelling, should we get this going?
I guess so.
It's a difficult one. I can start us out here. Again, I've softened a lot over the course of this podcast about like the Fast and Furious movies. I think there was like an unnecessary harshness I had going towards them just in general before even the podcast. But I've softened a lot, and that's credit to you guys and to Alex and just watching these movies. But there's that itch. There's an itch about Hereditary that I really think there's more interesting things to explore, and that they do explore about family in Hereditary. So I think I'm still going to lean Hereditary as my vote here.
I can go next. I feel like, I understand the idea of Hereditary, but I don't get good feelings about family after watching this movie. And I do get good feelings about family after watching Fast and Furious. And for me, like, I want family to be this like positive, uplifting thing that is, analogous and amorphous, and like it changes based on what you need it to be and want it to be. And that is a feeling that I get more from Fast and Furious. And so I'm going to vote for Fast 7 here.
Now, I'd argue the family in Hereditary does change what it needs to be because it kills the daughter to get the male form.
But that don't make me feel good.
What if the real family story isn't about the Graham family?
What's Paimon's family?
It's literally, he just wants physical form. He wants to come down to Earth and hang out.
I mean, wouldn't you want physical form if you didn't have it?
Honestly, point. It's kind of interesting because in Hereditary, Paimon is gaining physical form, and in Fast and Furious, Paul Walker is losing.
That's.
I'll probably cut that one out.
I mean, I guess he's been dead for a while, so it's not.
I'll still probably cut that one out.
Oh, that's fucking banger of a joke, though.
It was a banger of a joke, but
that's one of
the test audiences may not like that one.
That's one of those jokes where I would write it into like a sketch and then go, this is my make people feel weird comedy sketch.
And I'd sit there being like, yeah, we should do Matthew's sketch for the opener. We should really set the tone.
Good one.
I liked it. I mean, shout out that joke, even though it's probably going to get cut. But
yeah. Remaining palatable and all that.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can vote. This one is surprisingly
Cookie
tough.
Crisp in my bedroom. Sorry to interrupt.
Cookie Crisp.
So
I'm so sorry.
This matchup, I think, is deceptively tough to vote on.
100%.
However, I think Hereditary has more interesting things to say about family. So my watch just broke.
No. Wait, that's kind of spooky.
Like,
whoa.
What?
Whoa.
Okay.
Hail Pyman. Hail Pyman.
That's really weird.
The ghost of Paul Walker being like, "Fuck you, Matt."
He's pretty mad. Whereas you can't like Furious 7 wins on basically every metric as far as quantity of family goes.
Yeah, if we're going just by the old Jaker special of
and
quantity.
Jake betrayed himself. And
I am not philosophically consistent.
That's true.
I've been trying to tell you guys.
Whereas I think that Hereditary ends up this really focused perspective on a single family and dives really, really deep into that and just is a super interesting exploration of it. But I do think there is a really good heart in Furious 7. And in total credit for what it does succeed at and how much fun it is, even if you haven't seen like any of the Fast and Furious movies.
Yeah.
With that.
Wait, what did you actually vote for?
Oh, Hereditary.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I said it in the middle and then my watch broke and I got distracted. With that, Hereditary advances to our family bracket finale, but we've got one more matchup. Jake, if you want to go ahead and reintroduce my Little Miss Sunshine.
I sure do. Little Miss Sunshine. Came out 2006, July 26th to be exact, in case you guys were wondering over there at home. Yeah, you're welcome. The two directors with Valerie Ferris and Jonathan Dayton. Cinematography by Tim Surstian. Screenplay by Michael Arndt. I'm not going to go through and say all of them. I was going to, but then I gave up. This follows the Hoover family as a bunch of dysfunctional family people pile into a Volkswagen bus and head to California to support their daughter in her bid to win the Little Miss Sunshine contest. It's a pageant. That's a abbreviated version of the synopsis. They got a lot of dysfunction, a lot of stuff going on. But all you need to know is that Toni Collette is also in this one. Yep.
This is another mommy movie for Matthew.
This is the new bit.
Matt, you want to introduce what it's going up against?
Yeah, I can go ahead. It is going up against Parasite, released in 2019, directed by Bong Joon-ho. I'm still at a loss for properly introducing this film, but essentially the extraordinarily wealthy Park family and the financially impoverished Kim family end up in sort of a tangled mess of parasitic relationship wherein the Kim family infiltrate and are hired by the Parks to fulfill a variety of their sort of luxury home staff servant tasks, from tutors to personal drivers and in-house carers. It is chiefly a film about, or in part a film about, class struggle and financial inequality. But hey, it also happens to be a film where two families, 2.5-ish, end up in an tangled mess together for the worse of everyone involved.
It took everything in me not to make another 2.5 Men joke there.
I'm sure it did.
It took everything in me.
Yeah, so with that, discussing these two films, I think is going to be interesting. I don't know if anyone has a point they kind of want to start things off at.
Yeah, let's talk about the two family members who die. We got Grandpa and we got Jessica. What's up with
Mr.
that?
Park.
Oh yeah,
and Mr. Park.
Oh yeah, Mr. Park also dies. Oh yeah,
yeah.
There's a dead person, and the I guess both people in the half family also die. Do you consider them a half family just because they're husband and wife?
In terms of just mathematically compared to the other families in Parasite.
Yeah, again, we go by quantity. We've been trying to tell you.
Those are families of 4, you know?
Mm.
Oh, so literally, mathematically.
Yeah, that was where it was coming from. That's why I was saying it that way.
I thought you just thought they were lesser because they live in basement.
Yeah, because they don't even own property. At least the Kims have a sub-basement.
I feel like he means that, guys.
Whoa!
Matt's like I own property. Everyone else on this podcast is renting.
Rent cells.
I love he said everyone else if it's not just like the two of us.
Yeah, the half A half family on the podcast, Jake and Alex.
Yeah.
Aw, cute.
Well, you're married, so like you got
I
more
am a
steps
half
than I got.
family.
Yeah.
We don't have children.
I got me and this poster of Kermit behind me. That's what I got. Am I like
That's my
a
family.
quarter family? Am I?
Well, it depends.
So actually,
you nuts at Kermit?
Okay, you know what? We're
Done
getting
it
off
in front of
topic.
Kermit.
Getting off topic. Something I think is super beautiful, actually, about this comparison is that we talked a little bit last week about how Little Miss Sunshine is kind of tagged as a tragicomedy, tragic comedy, but a portmanteau of it. Is that the right word? Anyway,
good word.
I think both of these films are essentially that.
100%.
In very different ways.
Yeah.
But they definitely both explore tragedy and are both pretty funny.
Yeah.
What do we make of that?
Well, I think
they're. Oh, go for it.
Well, I was going to say so I hadn't seen Parasite before when I watched this, and I think I knew all that I knew going. Yeah, or Little Miss Sunshine, but Little Miss Sunshine, I kind of expected to have like some comedy in it because I knew Steve Carell was in it. But like with Parasite, like all I had heard about was it was like this like great thriller. It like talks about class structure. I had no idea how funny it would be, and man, it like was super funny, and I was very surprised by that. Yeah, they walk the line of like comedy, drama, and then in Parasite's case, horror. I think in a very like interesting and well trodden way. Yeah.
Well, I think also like kind of bouncing off that, Alex, is I think we laugh at both these movies because it's almost like uncomfortable, like not in like a bad way, but like in a we're laughing at these really like awful circumstances and kind of like this like really like we're seeing this like either class structure or like I mean both of them have like class stuff like the Little Miss Sunshine, Hoover family being very poor and poor family and all that, but we're kind of it's like almost like a not nervous laughter, but like we're looking at things that are objectively shitty, like shitty scenarios, and we're laughing, and that's a really cool like involuntary response that is really really awesome in both these, and I think still surprising. I mean, Top of Little Miss Sunshine is a very like it is, you could tell it's a comedy, but it is a dark comedy. Like Steve Carell's character like is fresh off a very intense thing. Like these are very intense things that are happening. And Parasite, very obviously, there's a lot of death. There's a lot of the rainstorm sequence. That's a very brutal sequence to have. Yeah. And even the fact, kind of going kind of meta with it, I guess, like the fact that one scene is memed where Mr. Park's driving and the other person, the rich person behind's talking about, oh, the rain cleared everything. It was like so great.
Is in the back.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Switch. Thank you. I think that's like really a great, like kind of like meta way to look at it is like that is a very serious like scene, like very like it gets its point across like so well. But we even made it into like a meme culture because there's like this, we have no choice but to laugh at this because it's so fucking ridiculous how people can reach these conclusions on stuff that we have to find like an avenue of humor to, I don't know if feel comfortable is the right word, but like it's just interesting to me that's our way out of those things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think that this like humor as a coping mechanism plays a role in both of these films, but I almost think that there's this other piece where like they use their like both of these movies use their secondary genres in somewhat subversive ways. Little Miss Sunshine, I think, as far as my interpretation, is more chiefly a comedy, and it sort of intersperses tragedy as a subversive element, kind of like in unexpected ways. For example, the grandfather's death or Dwayne realizing that he's colorblind is like ultimately a pretty funny thing. Like if you just like as a setup, a guy who wants to be a pilot finds out he's colorblind, but is played for such a strong personal tragedy. And I think that that's just something Little Miss Sunshine does really, really well. I think it's a really cool thing that it does. And sort of walking that same line, I think Parasite, which on the surface has as Alex pointed out, those elements of thriller, these elements of tension. And then it is sort of interspersing comedy as in subversive ways, getting to what you were talking about is like comedy or humor as a coping mechanism, because a scene like walks that tightrope and will sort of fall between like being tense and being humorous very, very quickly in Parasite. I think it's something both of these films do really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that they're just both like surprising films in like weird ways you wouldn't like think. Like if you like, I'm very curious, like Alex, in your perspective, having seen them for the first time. If I'm thinking back when I saw this for the first time, I was surprised with both of them. Like even if I heard that they were both good movies, like something about them is very surprising in a very cool way. Like you gravitate towards them, especially talking about family. Like it's cool seeing what is depicted on screen and something that feels fresh and like really, I don't know, you gravitate towards it. Right. At least in my experience.
Yeah, I mean, I loved both of these movies watching them. I think I was more surprised by Parasite because I had a more preconceived notion of what I thought it was. And it was that in some ways, but wasn't in other ways. I think in that sense, I was less surprised by Little Miss Sunshine. But, I mean, I still had a fantastic time with it. So, okay. Where do we stand on Greg Kinnear's character in Little Miss Sunshine? What are our, like, final thoughts on him? What are we supposed to feel about him? His ideas of being a winner and loser, because like for me, I bounced off of him real hard, and like obviously that's the point, right? Is that you're supposed to dislike him at first. I never really quite got to liking him, you know, like I feel like,
but I kind of so not to interrupt.
No, go for it.
Fully, but I kind of like that it reaches that conclusion with Greg Kinnear's character because, like, again, with Little Miss Sunshine, it's not about like getting a perfect cookie cutter like conclusion. Well, like they don't all come across at the end of this movie on the other side great,
right?
They don't really get full redemption arcs. They just get like a full family redemption. Like they feel better with themselves. It's not really with their internal character or with like who they are. And I think it paints a really realistic depiction of it. Like your dad can be super shitty and he could do a nice thing. He could do a very nice thing, but he's still going to have those preconceived notions. Just because it's the end of the movie does not mean miraculously he's going to change. And I think he plays that father figure character really well, especially if you have like Steve Carell, like paralleling him and even to an extent, or like, of course, the grandfather.
Yeah, I was going to say to clarify, when you said do a nice thing, you did mean steal grandfather out of the hospital when he was a dead body, right?
I mean, objectively, that's probably what he wanted. If the grandfather could have seen, like, could have had an out of body experience after he died and could have seen that they did that, he would be rip roaring. He would have loved that shit.
Do you think Mr. Park would have like a similar reaction, rip roaring, having a good time when Mr. Kim sneaks into the super basement?
I'd like to believe so.
He'd be like, "Oh, these guys have been living here the whole time. That's so funny."
Duh.
My family
I thought we were haunted by ghosts.
My family has a crazy murderer in the basement. That's so funny.
Well, he doesn't start a crazy murderer. He just starts a man who's in basically
No, but from Mr. Park's perspective, directly after being murdered, I assume he would think of Mr. Kim as a crazy murderer.
That's fair.
That's fair. I'm not going to argue with you on that one. I'm not.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the conclusion of Greg Kinnear's character not feeling so like, because I bounce off him too. He's
he fat shames his 7-year-old daughter. He is an asshole.
Yeah.
Like
he's an asshole.
I think you essentially hit the nail on the head, Jake. Like you should bounce off of him. Like the dude sucks. And like while we get to see like one small redemption over the course of the film for him, like he probably is not going to be an entirely changed person. And that's part of the, I think, beauty of Little Miss Sunshine is that like this family will likely continue to be dysfunctional. They will not be perfect.
There's still trauma. The trauma does not go away.
Yeah.
Like he still fat shamed his daughter. She's going to stick with that, even if he did a nice thing on that same trip. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like these are all things that they're, as a group of people, going to have to continue working on. But at the very least, we get like this moment where they're all together, have the like aligned, like happy together, and like making that memory, I think, is going to end up being a really important piece in Olive and Dwayne's lives, as much as like remembering the times when their dad was kind of shitty is just going to play an important piece as well.
I guess then in taking that kind of in a similar direction of like where these movies are at the end, what do you think of the ending of Parasite? Like
it is horrifically tragic.
Yeah, a lot more finality in that one, which is also beautiful in its own right. I mean, beautifully tragic, but it's tough because it sucks. Like you know something's gonna happen. Like once you get the twist of it all, like what's got like shit has to end somehow, and it's gonna end probably not in the best way. With either jail, I guess, or death. There's less to like. There is a lot to think about with it. Like the kind of spectrum of what could happen in a scenario like this and taking it to the extreme, like that is a whole separate piece of like all that, whereas Little Miss Sunshine's leaves it a little bit more open to like the whole like families do not just end after this one big moment, like kind of what we were talking about. There's work to do after.
I think there's this somewhat beautiful piece in Parasite's ending, like, well, beautifully tragic still, that as far as the theme of family goes, even after everything, the son is still thinking about like, what can I do to put my family back together now that this has all happened?
Yeah.
And like the one path forward is to buy that house and free his father.
Mm-hmm.
And he even talks about like shirking like every other possible thing, like a marriage and like his own children and whatever other pleasures in life, because putting his family, his, original family back together is like the most chiefly important thing. And it's the exact same thing that like got them into this mess, was caring maybe too deeply for each other.
Yeah.
And that is just like very tragic, layered on top of the fact that it's probably not going to happen.
Well, and I think too, layered on top of like the like tragic thing of like making this plan to save his dad is like directly against his father's philosophy the whole movie of not having a plan, like it's good. It's really good.
It's good.
Yeah, it is. We keep coming back to it. Actually, both of these movies are like really, really smartly written.
Yeah, they're so good.
Great scripts. Oh my god, great scripts on both of them.
Their ability to maintain some thematic consistency is really, really impressive, and is what makes them such effective films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's really tough. I mean,
they're both great
there's
films.
Not a lot to nitpick in these films.
And they both have really interesting takes on family. One thing we haven't talked
Dark comedies, man.
Yeah. One thing we haven't talked, I think, too much about is the Park family. Naturally, Parasite's a little bit more focused on the Kims than it is the Parks.
Yes.
The Parks are, in some senses, a narrative vehicle for the story to happen. But I do think that there is also things that we can kind of parse from or read as far as what the film's trying to tell us about. Similar to the when we talked about Royal Tenenbaums, like what wealth does to a family. Maybe there's some estranging elements that come with that. Or estranging and eccentric elements that come with that. But like, what are your guys' takes on the Parks?
I mean, I think you already said it, the estranging elements. Like, it's very stark that the only time we ever actually see the Parks all together is when they're in the car to go camping, right? Like, there's never a moment where all of them are just like sitting at the dinner table having a meal together. Even when they get back from
that's why it's so
camping.
great, the parallel of the other family when they can.
Right. And so like, even when they get back from camping and like they make the whole meal for the son, the meal is just for him. No one else is supposed to have any, and then the mom ends up eating it all alone, right? Like,
and you even get like little moments of like other people being like, "I can't believe you ate all of it."
Yeah,
That's a really interesting observation.
Yeah, so like this idea of wealth lets them be nice. That the Kims talk about is like they can afford to be nice. Well, I think it's also like they have to be nice because they're rich, so they have to uphold this like idea of what the family is, and that ends up like, because everyone in the family has to be perfect, that tears everyone apart.
Yeah, I mean, like Mr. Park can't even, sure, we'll call it love, can't even say he loves his wife.
Yeah,
whereas I think the Kims, it's played paralleled so well. The parents very, very strongly care for each other. They even have the whole joke about it when they've invaded the Park's home, and they like play fight with each other. Like it is crazy to the extent that they kind of place characters in parallel, and relationships in parallel to each other.
Right.
I think that's a good observation on what the film is doing with the Parks, Alex.
And I think he nailed it, so I got shit to say.
All right, I'm clocked out, baby.
I'm clocked out.
If we're clocking out, should we do our end of the episode thing and vote on this?
Yeah,
whole
the thing we do at
I
the
thought
end
we
of
had.
every
I thought
episode.
we were doing. I thought you were going to bring up some other thing. I don't
What,
know.
the mommy thing?
No, I know. Damn it.
We
No,
can't.
I tried. I tried. I
Oh, you
tried,
didn't?
Matthew, to not. I tried. I didn't. No, I wasn't even.
This episode is going to be titled
talk about
Mommy's
9/11
Back,
or something.
and I'm so glad
Mommy's
that I have
home.
control of this one.
Mommy's home.
This one's called Mommy's Home. We got it. We nailed it.
Okay. Does anyone want to start us off with voting?
No.
I think I can start. I think both of these movies have these kind of like tragic endings, even though I feel like Little Miss Sunshine's is probably more uplifting despite the tragedy of it, right? But I think kind of at the end of the day, I think the family, I can't really explain it, but I think I want to vote for Parasite here. Yeah, I don't really know how to put into words why, but I feel like that's where I'm leaning.
You owe the people an explanation.
As Jake sits 3 feet from his mic.
You owe the people an explanation.
Horny couch.
Okay, there we go. All right. Yeah, I mean, horny couch.
At threat of it ending up in the podcast, I'm not going to say anything.
Oh, what?
I feel like that's your
No,
brain
I'll take it
every
out.
time
Matt,
we
I'll
record.
I'll edit it out. Please tell me what you were going to say.
Yeah, I'm very
I was gonna say, someone's trying to be with mommy on the horny couch.
I don't know if I can edit that out.
It's multi-layered because the horny couch does have
There's a
mother on it, and we've been
lot
talking
of
about
layer.
it's
lot of layer.
very dumb, but layered joke.
No, it was a really good joke. We should keep it.
I don't know about that.
I'll go next. Oh, I love this matchup. Love these two movies. This is very much a. We picked good. here.
Mm-hmm.
How many finals type matchups can one bracket have? I feel like the theme of this one.
Almost all.
I think
matchups
it's
in this
1,
movie,
2,
in this
3,
bracket.
4. I think 6 total is this one.
Cute.
6.
So not the finals matchup then.
Not that one.
No, that one will be a walk in the park. We'll all walk into it knowing what we're voting for.
Not that one. I'm gonna vote for Little Miss Sunshine here. I love what Parasite is doing. It's great. Phenomenal picture for sure. I just think family core, like family stuff. I think Parasite's doing a little bit more just besides family. And I think Little Miss Sunshine is explicitly, this is like kind of more centered on family and dynamics. And for the family bracket, even though I love both these movies, I think Little Miss Sunshine should go ahead to a final scenario here, in my opinion.
Oh, it's so tough.
It's tough. It's a toughie. How many times do you think we say the word tough?
Someone in the audience, you should listen to all our episodes and
Comb
count
through.
it.
Yeah. Geez.
And then send us a tweet at ToughCutPod. How many times did we say tough?
Call to action on
6.
episode 88. Go back and listen to 88 hours
Call
of
to
content.
Dude, if someone does it, Matthew will buy you something.
Probably. Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever.
I'm gonna do it.
Matthew
I'm gonna go
will
and do
buy
it.
them whatever.
Whoa,
I'm gonna go do it.
Whoa, I didn't say
Papa needs a
whatever.
new
I
car.
Jake,
said,
get some
Something to do
insurance. Matt's gonna
I
buy
said
you insurance.
I said something. I mean, I'll hire you at my LLC, Jake, and that will get you. Well, we don't currently offer any insurance.
Okay. All right. Well, Jesus.
Sorry, we got way off base. I think I'm gonna vote for.
I don't know where you're gonna go. This is exciting. I'm a little excited.
How do I? But I have to vote. Like I can't, podcast.
You could phone a friend.
Yeah, I'll vote for you.
Wait, that
You could. You could just call up some random person and be like, "Hey, between these two movies,
Little
pick
Miss
one."
Sunshine or Parasite, and they'll be like, "What? What the hell? I haven't talked to you in 6 years."
That'd be so funny.
Call someone I met at a Model UN conference in high school like 10 years ago.
Ooh,
They would be
great.
very confused. Be a
That's
good
great.
bit though.
And why do we do things if not to be good bits?
Good bit. I think I'm gonna vote for Parasite. both
Damn.
both of these films have like a really fascinating exploration of family, and they do different things extraordinarily effectively, but the math wins out at the end. 2.5 families.
2.5. Yeah, that's
versus 1.25. Come on.
Yeah.
Well, really, it goes back down to 1 because Grandpa
die. Oh, but the end of we can't get into the math right now.
I was gonna say math. If we're talking math, you got a lot of bodies.
It still adds up to more than 2 families.
That's true. That's true.
Fair.
So with that, we've got a finale. Hereditary versus Parasite.
Hilarious.
In a strange goddamn twist of fate.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Some wild stuff was going on in our little brains.
Who would have guessed that?
What's that say about our families? What's that say?
Well, we already know. We're all Tenenbaums.
Right. Yep. We know you. We know what's in your mind. Man, you coward. You couldn't have 2 mommies go off against each other.
Oh, damn.
Could have had some mommy on mommy, and now what?
With that,
now what?
Looking forward to our finale next week, which means it's time for honorable mentions. If you have movies about family that you want us to talk about that we missed, you should let us know on either our Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd. You could email us at toughcutpod or toughcutpod@gmail.com.
Yeah. If you enjoyed today's episode, make sure to rate and review on all your favorite podcasting platforms. We're available on all of them. Also, who should they share today's episode with?
Your mommy.
No, we did that last week.
Wait, did we do that last week?
Yeah,
wow, I truly don't remember.
Share it with
a math teacher.
Share it with
your found family.
Yeah. And if that's your math,
if
that's your math teacher,
share it with them. Start printing out QR codes that link to our podcast. And
share it with a village of rats.
Ooh, share it with a bunch of rats.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Rats. Yeah, their family.
The rats.
We're the rats.
What is there something else we're supposed to say? I can't.
We're the rats. I'm the giant rat who makes all of the rules. Are we done? Is that it?
Yeah,